name is Carmen. Today we have a reading for you about somebody who is too caught up in their routine and feeling a bit stressed, or maybe not even getting enough rest or days off to be able to consider setting aside the time that they need to for their healing, or making some changes in their life that would have positive impact on them. So we have wake, work, scroll, repeat, someone who's feeling a sense of burnout. And we also have shadow work, tomorrow, maybe. It's not their priority because there's too much going on in like the 3D to be able to focus on the more emotional or introspective stuff. It just seems kind of exhausting to this person. So this could be you, or this could be a person that you're dealing with. But let's call in spirit with a little bit of wind chime time. I hope you're having a good day so far. If you're interested in a personal reading, I would love to do one for you. My email address is wickedonestarot@gmail.com. You can find it in the description box along with more information on how to become a member. Thank you to the current members, and also thank you to those that have checked out my Etsy shop, which is also linked in the description box. If you're interested in a homemade soy candle, which is better for your health and the environment, you can find that in the description box. I'm going to do things a little bit differently for this particular reading because I got interrupted in the last live stream and had to sign off before I did the personal questions, which got under my skin a little bit, but we just had like a little bit of an unpredictable schedule change in terms of some work getting done in the garage, so forgive me. What I'm going to do is start off with those 3 questions from the last live stream. Then I'm going to dive into the general reading, and then if we have any other personal questions, I'll do those after the general reading. Okay? It's going to feel a little bit weird, but we're going to go with it. Wait. This is actually good though, because Kieran had asked for the Dragons Tarot, and now I've cleared those back from the previous reading. I can use the full Dragons Tarot for Kieran's question. All right, so I have questions from Kieran, Gab, and Gracie. Then, like I said, I'll dive into the general reading, and then we'll go back. Hello, Gab. I'm glad you're here. All right, so for Kieran, we have, what guidance from the dragons does Kieran need? What does Kieran need to know, please? We have the Nine of Wands and the King of Wands in the reverse. Here's the Nine of Wands and the King of Wands in the reverse, if you really want to see it. This feels to me like protecting yourself from somebody's anger. We have Death in the reverse and the Ace of Swords in the reverse. So Kieran, what I'm picking up on is in the near future, there is an argument that happens and somebody is a bit desperate to preserve either their connection with you or like their reputation, but they are combative and contentious, maybe even adding fuel to the fire, making things seem worse than they really were because they don't want to let go of something. So is this somebody who has lied to Kieran? Yes. Nine of Swords. They're anxious about something. They don't want you to know the truth. They feel like you're about to figure it out. So they're losing control, basically. We have the Hierophant. I think this could be somebody who you view as having morals or principles, but what they have done is outside of those morals and principles. They are afraid of you judging. They are afraid of you judging them for that decision or that move. So this is basically saying proceed with caution. When you approach this person to have this conversation, it could get out of hand pretty quickly. Choosing the right time is very important, but they're going to, I think, surprise you with the like claws coming out. because this is somebody that you've known for a while or somebody that you have a sense of like camaraderie or love for, but they really don't want you to know what's going on. They want to be seen as someone who wouldn't do what they actually did. So they're holding on to this lie. They're not willing to be honest about it. And that anger is going to, I think, more readily confirm your intuition that something happened that shouldn't have. So be cautious in this conversation and recognize those red flags. This is someone who doesn't want to be honest with you. All right, I hope that is helpful, Kieran. And let me just check in and say hello to the folks that have showed up. Hello, Candace. Hello, Elena. That works, Gab. Hello, Alpha. How are you doing? Hello, Albert. Hello, Raziel. Hey, YouTube, if you're going to be condescending, I'm just going to block you, okay? I don't have hatred of Christianity. I have a different understanding of it. I appreciate spirituality versus people who feel like it needs to be rigid. If you're going to be combative, I'm going to block you. That's not me having hatred for religion. Okay, well, that's cool. I'll give you a little breather. How about like 5 minutes? Baby steps, right? If you'd like to be respectful, you're welcome to be in the live chat. Otherwise, I'm going to bounce you, okay? So just because things are a little bit different in today's reading, I got interrupted on the last live stream, so we're dealing with the 3 personal questions from that live stream that I wasn't able to get to. I've knocked out the first one. Thank you to those 3 individuals for being patient with me. And we've got Gab and Gracie left. And then we will dive into that general reading. So thank you for the patience and understanding. All right. So we've got for Gab, what does Al think I'm stubborn about? What does Al think that Gab is stubborn about? Nine of Pentacles, Queen of Pentacles, Page of Cups, and the Page of Wands. Communication issues. So from Al's perspective, you think about things for yourself, but you are a little bit slow to understand how those words or how your perspective is impacted by another or impacts someone else. So this would be, in my opinion, I want you to think about things from my perspective more frequently. I want to know that you're considering how it feels from my side of things. And I want to know that when you're communicating, you are anticipating that something could potentially make me uncomfortable or feel frustrated. So maybe choosing better words where you might be saying, like, I'm sorry that that hurt you, but that's like how I feel. And this is someone who's like, well, okay, your feelings are valid, but we got to find a better way to communicate those feelings. So I feel like a lot of it is about communication and how that communication is received. Will Al and Gab be together in a romantic relationship? Right now, it is unlikely. We have materialism in the reverse and the Queen of Swords. Right now, we have somebody who is pretty unwilling to view this situation differently. So I feel like this is Al assuming that you will not change or assuming that you are incompatible. I do feel like there is this sense from Al that's like, if I end up in a relationship, cool, but I'm not going to be like bending over backwards trying to get into a relationship. I'm fine being on my own. But with the Knight of Swords, again, this seems to be focused on communication. Hello, Shane. How are you doing? Hello, Key Controller. All right, let's see what we've got. Thank you again for your patience, Gab. Let's see what we've got for Gracie. Oops, I dropped that. This is the White Sage Tarot. And Gracie's question was regarding guidance on manifestation. Looks like manifestation's getting a little bit easier for Gracie. For those of you just joining, I'm doing things a little bit backwards because my last live stream I had to end it abruptly and did not get to those personal questions. So I will be starting the general reading shortly, probably right around 15 minutes. And we're at 10 and a half. So what do we have for Gracie regarding manifestation guidance? Five of Wands in the reverse, Queen of Swords in the reverse, Three of Swords. Let the haters hate. There are people who don't like you or people who talk about you, people who send negative energy your way. And it is important to be able to neutralize that energy, right? But you can also take that negative energy and transmute it and use that power yourself, right? So when people like YouTube is trash is sending negative energy my way, I don't get too like upset about it because that negative energy is something that you can wrangle, right? You can take that and make it what you want. So you're being told that, kind of like saying all press is good press. Like if people are talking about you, okay, go for it. Because I'm going to find a way to take that energy that you're wasting on me and I'll use it in a more purposeful manner. So when there are people who don't like you or people who talk negatively about you, remember that you can repurpose that energy and make something positive from it. So do not cast off too much energy just because it seems negative. You have the ability to leverage that or harness it for your own purpose. So with the Knight of Wands, I see you getting more powerful when you, instead of just blocking everything, find a way to manipulate that, right? In a good way. Knight of Swords and the Devil in the reverse. So you neutralize that negative energy being sent your way. So if they're sending something your way, it's not necessarily bad, even if they have, you know, kind of evil eye energy, you're able to transmute. Emperor in the reverse, Temperance in the reverse, and Strength in the reverse. Those that wish ill upon you or want to see you struggle or get frustrated are eventually going to be a little bit perturbed when they realize that it's not affecting you, it's actually empowering you. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't really care to deal with that negative energy, and I wouldn't be surprised if you're the same person. So I'm going to give you a little bit of a break, okay? Hello, Dynamic. This is what I do for work. You don't have to watch all of them. It's okay. Hello, Stephen. How are you doing? All right, so we've gotten through those live streams, or the personal questions from the last live stream. Let's dive into that general reading. And to refresh those who may have just joined, or I guess let them know, we have two cards from the Dead Inside deck that is talking about somebody who seems to struggle with taking a break from work and focusing on the healing that they need to be able to move forward, let go of the past. So we've got wake, work, scroll, repeat, and shadow work tomorrow, maybe. Hello, John. How are you doing? Hello, ZP. Hello, Robert. Dynamic, you can toss your question into a super chat or donate a membership to somebody else in the live chat, and I will add you to the list. I will be doing those personal questions at about 50 minutes in, or in about 30 minutes, okay? We're going to start with the Meta Muse. What else do we have? It's too much of it, right? Princess of Pentacles, which is the Page of Pentacles, Death in the reverse, and the Hermit in the reverse. There's repeating cycles here. More than one, right? I keep feeling like I'm just doing the same thing, kind of like Groundhog's Day. And with Death in the reverse, nothing ever feels like it's going to change because I'm not changing. If I don't see things differently, or if I don't work on, the mind, body, soul element, then it's going to be a little bit too comfortable just living in that 3D and not having an appreciation for the spiritual side, right? Hey, Palashi, please do not repeat your messages. If you would like me to pull some cards for you, you can put your question in a super chat, and I will do that after the general reading, which should be in about 28 minutes or so. Strength in the reverse and the King of Wands. So this could be about you or a person that you're dealing with, but we have somebody that seems to be very like, go, 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 right? I can't stop. I have to make sure that I make enough money for rent, or I have to make enough money to buy a new car. So I let these things that I know are bothering me from a spiritual standpoint or an emotional standpoint fester instead of actually dealing with those issues. I love that he's drawing a cat, but he's drawing it upside down. What else do we have? Justice. Three of Pentacles in the reverse and the Six of Swords in the reverse. So because this individual, our King of Wands, is not taking their healing seriously, it's like the universe is going to make them uncomfortable. If you can imagine, or perhaps even remember, when you were younger, maybe a teenager, and you didn't want to wake up, and it was like, I don't know, noon, and your parents were irritated, they might be like the type to use like pots and pans or blast some music to try to wake you up. That's what the universe is doing to this King of Wands, because they are refusing to address those healing like indicators, like you need to work on this. Then the universe is going to make you uncomfortable. There could be issues with regards to the job, professional side of things, but there could also be some, I don't know, drama or toxic energy in a social circle or in a relationship, and this is happening with greater frequency or more toxic energy because they want this King of Wands to feel uncomfortable. I have to do something to change this. Hello, Shane. Hello, is it Shaik? I don't know if I'm saying that right. Hello, Bobby. How are you doing? I hope they are, Shane. Feel free to attach your question to a super chat and I will put it on the list. How you doing, Grind Hard? Hello, Pharaoh. What's up? So because of the resistance to making a change happen for themselves in a more organic way, the universe is putting them in a challenging spot and saying, you either figure it out or you give up. Pressure testing, if you will. Hello, Joe. How are you doing today? How is Raquel towards me right now? And Joe, I don't know if you can see what the timer is on today's reading, but we had a little bit of a different setup where I had to do some questions from the last live stream. So the timer is a little bit off, but we'll be starting that personal reading section at, well, in about 25 minutes. I'm glad to hear that, Joe. Hanged Man in the reverse, Five of Pentacles, King of Cups. So because you won't work on yourself, because you're being stubborn, and this could be about you or someone you know, right? This King of Wands is being put in an awkward situation, or maybe even getting laid off, or feeling like their friends aren't their friends anymore, because they are meant to achieve more, and that ability to achieve more is dependent upon actually working on that healing. So, you know, you don't want to get out of bed, but if I have an air horn, maybe you will. How can I encourage you or like nudge you to do this healing that you've been ignoring? That's how the universe is approaching this. All right, this is one of my new favorites. This is the Grand Tarot Feline. It's in French, so there are times where I might have to try to like, guess what the French means, but thankfully I speak Spanish. That helps a little bit. Hello, Salvador. How are you doing? What else do we have? Force majeure. Yeah, that makes sense. So this is the devil, but in the reverse. And I think this is the Knight of Swords. Yeah. So something happens to put this King of Wands in a treacherous situation where you have to decide, are you going to work on what needs to be worked on? Are you going to let go of this job or this social community or this approach or behavior and finally change what has been keeping you stuck? Or are you going to just sit there and tolerate the banging of pots and pans while you try to sleep past noon? You know? Did I say hello to Salvador? I hope I did. Hello. Y'all have any fun weekend plans? It looks like it might be nice enough to go to the pool. We'll see. So we have the Six of Pentacles and the Page of Wands. You might even have a dream, or your person, depending on who is the King of Wands. But there is a message delivered in a not so subtle way, which is basically change and evolve or get left behind. You have been avoiding this for a long time. It's time to do something. Can't just keep remaining stuck or stay in that same situation and expect things to change without you working on it, without having some kind of skin in the game. So we have the Two of Swords and the Sun in the reverse, putting them at a crossroads. Do you want to grow up? Do you want to work on these problems? Or do you want to continue to face the same cycle over and over again, right? Hey, Gracie. Yes, I would start the video from the very beginning, because the way that I did it was the intro, wind chimes, and then I dove into those 3 personal questions, and then I started the general after that. So rewind. Hello, Shayla. How are you doing? What else? Six of Swords. And the Two of Pentacles. I think the King of Wands is going to choose to do the work. You know, there have definitely been times where I've procrastinated. You know, I've got a 10-page paper due in 2 days. I guess I'll finally get started on it. Or the garbage needs to go out or it won't get picked up. I'm gonna wait till the last minute. We have somebody here who is waiting until the last minute and finally getting their act in gear. But it requires a little bit of like I'm gonna like shove you into the crossroads moment here where you're like, okay, fine, I guess I'll do it. I was really content to just keep watching bad reality television and heating up microwave dinners, but I guess if you really want me to do some shadow work, I will. Okay, sounds good, Gracie. Hello, Jorge. My name is Carmen. You can call me that. All right, so this is the Poe Tarot. Let's see what else we've got. We just had the Six of Pentacles. We also have the Knight of Wands. But lo, a stir is in the air. The wave, there is a movement there. Someone who has been stuck, somebody who has been unwilling to work on themselves is finally seeing the inspiration or finally realizing, like, I guess I gotta like actually do something or I lose out. I had an email from PayPal and it reminded me that I had a different PayPal before I set up the one for my channel. And literally the notification was, hey, if you don't do something with that $15 that's been sitting there untouched for years, then we're just gonna take it. I was like, oh, I didn't even know that there was $50 in there. Okay, let me move that over. I would not have done anything about it if they hadn't gotten impatient with me, right? The universe has gotten impatient with this King of Wands, and because they get that little like swift kick to the arse. Does YouTube get mad over that one? I don't think they do. Because of that, now we have somebody who's saying, okay, fine, I'll do it. From my infancy, I was noted for the docility and humanity of my disposition. I wasn't really, getting up in arms about these changes that I needed to make. But since you tell me that I only have a limited amount of time or you're going to take my money, then fine, I'll have a little sense of urgency because you told me I had to. Otherwise, this King of Wands was content to just be like, whatever. I guess I have to do something. Jorge, no. Jorge, I'm not on this channel to date people. I do not want to be flirted with. I'm here to give messages to the collective. I want to see y'all get married. That's cool. But do not ask me out. It will never be a yes. I don't care if you're in the next town over or if you're a millionaire. It will always be a no. So, no. We have the 10 of Wells, which is the 10 of Cups. And neither the angels in heaven above nor the demons down under the sea can ever dissever my soul from the soul of the beautiful Annabelle Lee. So beautiful. So we have somebody who has not wanted to work on healing from a previous relationship. Part of the reason I'm stuck, part of the reason I'm just thinking about like the surface level is because I don't want to admit that this relationship is actually done. I don't want to admit that there's nothing I can do to get that person back. Yeah, this is a broken heart. I'm avoiding the healing because then I have to actually admit that it's over. And so all the night tide, I lie down by the side of my darling, my life, and my bride. This is someone who is still very much so caught up in reliving a relationship that has ended, that they don't have access to. not really living, just existing, until the universe is like, hey, wake up. You got a life to live, you know? This is no way to actually enjoy your life. There's more to it than just looking back at your past relationships. Suddenly a corner was turned, a blaze of light burst upon our sight. But at least this King of Wands is saying, okay, fine, I'll do it. I know you're mad at me. I know I took a little bit longer than I should have, but I'm gonna do it, okay? Chill out, man. Let's see. No, I think we want the Voyage of the Soul. Hello, Crystal. How are you doing? Hello, Gucci Bang. What's up? Hello, Joey. Feel free to put your question in a super chat and I will add it to the list. Hello, Spiritual Healer. How we doing? Alive and split. Excitement, boldness, vigor, dynamic, zest, and movement. This is why we have the King of Wands, somebody who was initially the Hermit in the reverse, not really wanting to learn their lessons and maybe a bit lonely or lost. Now they're feeling more alive and feeling like there is a direction they know to go in because the universe gave them a little bit of a kick to the butt. Split. Head versus heart, two worlds, transition, and ego death. So we have a spiritual awakening, someone who's going through that dark night of the soul and realizing, I need to make some changes or it's not going to work out. I hope you find it, David. Hey, Real Gucci Mang, if you're just going to be a cat and not contribute to the live chat, I'm going to ask you to keep it moving, okay? And I love cats. I really do, but you are a human, my friend. So, contribute something more than that, por favor. Thank you, Joey. Let me add that for you. Going forward, let's avoid last names, please. I like to respect people's privacy. And Joey, I start those personal questions after the general reading, so that'll be in about 18 minutes, 17 minutes maybe. One second. Okay, just for you, Real Gucci Mang. Okay? We could be friends. All right. Harvest. Steady, stable, rewards, financial gain, abundance, and windfall. I love to see this. It's because you're willing to be open, or your person is willing to be open to this change, healing from that previous relationship. They're opening that crown chakra. So that enables abundance. I love it. All right, we're going to get a little bit more from, We're going to go with the Earth and Bones Tarot. Oh no, Shayla, I hope you get a new one. I think Rachel has one that's like rainbowy, which is pretty cool. That's funny, key controller. No, I appreciate that you have more beyond the meows. That's what I wanted. Because, you know, some people just come into the live chat and they want to distract. But as long as you're actually making an effort to connect with others, I appreciate that. 10 of Petals or 10 of Pentacles. And the 10 of Swords. Ooh, this has happened twice today where I've started with a new tarot deck and we have 2 of the same number. So just to put that in perspective for you, we have 5 10s in 78 cards. And I've got 2 of them. It's 100% of the cards that I've pulled. And 10s are about completion. This is saying, you know what? Yeah, I've probably done too much, given too much of my time to that old relationship, or avoided the healing and letting go and forgiving. I've avoided that for too long. So let's close out that chapter, right? Queen of Jars or the Queen of Cups. And the 4 of Crystals or 4 of Swords in the reverse. A lot of the struggles that individuals face when they're dealing with a relationship, specifically a relationship ending, is not about how you loved the other person, but about how you loved yourself and how you love yourself. If you are unkind to yourself, if you accept treatment that is below what you deserve, it is because you're accepting the love that you think you deserve and not loving yourself the way that you should, right? So with this 4 of Swords in the reverse, we have a realization. Maybe it's been difficult because I have been ignoring and pushing away the reality, right? Magician in the reverse. 4 of Wands in the reverse. Seven of Jars or 7 of Cups. And the Teacher in the reverse. I'm so proud of this person. They're realizing I've ignored what other people have said, or I've ignored the lessons I needed to learn from that situation. And that's what's been holding me back, or that's what's taken away my magic and dulled my shine. So I think we have somebody who is going to be able to better understand what they need to do in order to be like whole again, right? In order to feel more confident and ready to take on the world and start a new chapter. They feel confident in doing that now that they're acknowledging that they've been kind of stuck in an old pattern or thinking about something or someone that they need to let go. All right, so this is the Mystical Cat Tarot. All work and no play makes Johnny a dull boy. All right, what else do we have, please? Ace of Sea or the Ace of Cups and Death. And you might be looking at me like, Carmen, why do you get excited about the Death card? Because you can't have new beginnings without having some endings, right? You can't change without letting go of an old version of yourself. So this is that other relationship, that heartbreak being released and someone deciding, I love myself too much to get caught up in heartbreak that lasts for decades. I need to learn what I can from that situation and move on. And here we have 2 4s. We have the 4 of Wands and the Emperor, which is number 4. I love this. This is somebody gaining control over that energy and realizing it's time to move forward. Forgive that person from the past, wish them well, and not be so focused on the past that the future is missed out on. I don't want to be upset or depressed anymore. I can accept that that wasn't meant for me. That wasn't supposed to be my forever person. And I can work on myself in a way where I know how to approach love the next time I encounter it. Six of Sky. Stop it. So this would be like the Six of Swords. Look at that determination. We've got a cat who's saying, okay, yeah, oops, there was an issue back here. There were some problems, got into a little bit of a skirmish, you know, people got froggy, but it's okay. I can move on from that. And someday I will feel that love from someone else. But first I need to show that love to myself and take care of myself. So that's 2 6s in a row after we had 2 4s in a row. And we also had the 6 of Earth. So it's actually like 3 6s there. And you might be like, Carmen, that's like the sign of the devil and stuff. Yeah, but if we're looking at numerology, we also have somebody who is creating new balance, creating a change so that they can set up a new chapter and invest in something different. Thank you, Gracie. Yeah, no spamming, Gucci. All right, so let's use the Lenormand. What else do we have for this King of Wands who is making a change and letting go of this past relationship? What else? $19, the Tower. The Tower is different in the Lenormand. This is more about structure. So while the Tower in Tarot is more about destruction and major change or people like falling out of a building, not usually really, but things have to change, right? The Tower in the Lenormand is more about maybe even actual buildings, but a structure. So I feel like we have somebody who's realizing, I have to create a new routine. I have to create some rules for myself and let go of the like Bridget Jones eating a gallon of ice cream kind of mentality, right? Let that go and usher in a new, more positive energy. So we have this Tower is trying to say that you will live for many days, but if clouds are hovering near, there is reason to fear. So we have somebody letting go of those clouds. How do I know that? Because we also have the Fish. If the fish, a fish far away will ruin your day. A fish nearby means sunny skies. There's good news coming in for this King of Wands. They're letting go of holding on to that negative energy. They're forgiving the person from their past and starting that new chapter. Maybe it wasn't meant to be. Maybe rejection is protection. This card is a sign to those who are good and mild. They are treasured by friends as a mother does her child. So because you have a lift in your spirits, because you are kinder to yourself or someone you know, right, whoever this is, the King of Wands, that change in attitude and letting go of the past, focusing on what is in front of you, enables other people to see that you have much to offer. If people see you going through a glow up, you can pretty much expect that someone's going to be interested in you romantically. Hello, Kuro. I do not get involved with the sports ball events. I wish you luck, however. I hope you get your way, but I do not pretend to have that influence. I do think it's funny, though, that I've heard that people who are watching the World Cup and not from the United States are falling in love with ranch. Anyways. Hello, Alan. How are you doing? Hello, Biswa. What's up? Hello, B. How are you doing? So we have the Coffin, which is the end of that old energy, and somebody who, it's like, I'm stepping out. I want the world to know. Because they're letting that go. They're not going to just stay at home and be upset and cry over spilt milk. This is someone who is connecting again with others, and the sun has come back out. So that's why they move from the King of Wands to this Emperor energy. They're able to learn from the past without letting it prevent them from pursuing something for their future. Hello, Callan. How are you doing? Well, there you go, Kuro. You've got what you need then. Hello, James. What's up? I hope you're having a good one. All right, so I'm going to pull a few from the Witch's Tarot, and then we're going to start those personal questions in about 4 minutes. And we've got Joao and then Joey. All right, so what else do we have for this general reading, please? Ace of Swords. The truth. They're no longer ignoring the truth. Yes, it didn't go the way that I wanted to. Yes, I ended up having to let go of that person that I thought I was going to have in my life forever. Lots of air energy, by the way, so Aquarius, Gemini, Libra. But I can learn from that situation, and I can move forward. Thank you, Kira. Hello, Samir. How are you doing? We have the horned one with some booty and the Ace of Cups in the reverse. So if you are obsessive, I have to cover their butts. If you are obsessive over somebody that got away, you never know just how much you're missing out on by looking in your rearview mirror instead of looking at what's in front of you. Now this King of Wands has upgraded to this Emperor energy, and they're saying, yeah, you know, I've loved and lost, but that's okay. I learned from it, and there's other fish in the sea. Literally, other fish in the sea. I'm going to go fishing. Who's going fishing? Who's going fishing? If you know that movie reference, I love you. So we have the Three of Swords and the Six of Pentacles. I'm going to let that heartbreak or disappointment or sense of rejection from a previous relationship enrich who I am instead of block me from things in my future. And I can accept that there's a different way to move forward. There is a different path to happiness. It doesn't have to be with that one person. I don't know what you're talking about, Samir. Hey, that's totally acceptable, Kiro. What you like? Physical Graffiti? 1, 2, 3, 4? What's your favorite album? That's so weird. I was thinking, do I have sardines? No, I think I have mussels. Not this kind, but like the fishy kind. Well, maybe a little of both. We have the Moon, Temperance, and the Eight of Cups. So even though I was stuck in this old way of thinking or stuck thinking that person was the only person that could make me happy, I've been able to reestablish balance within myself and let go, address those emotions, and walk away from that sadness so that I can learn to be happy with a different outcome than I originally expected or wanted. This could be somebody who was married and it was really difficult to let go of the idea of, you know, I promised myself to this person and it didn't work out. But you know what? That's not the only way I could be happy. So we have happiness coming to this person who had been depressed for a while. I know I can move on. I know I can let go of those expectations and be a bit agnostic, right? Whatever's going to happen is going to happen, and I will appreciate it. Oh, I'm so proud of you, Emperor. Look, now we also have the Hermit coming through in the upright when we previously had it in the reverse. So new, boundless energy, letting go of the past, forgiving people, forgiving yourself, and accepting that you deserve to be loved. Accepting that there are multiple ways that you could end up being a very happy person. It doesn't have to be with that one person that you thought it was going to be. All right, let's dive into those personal questions. This is the, Nightmare Before Christmas. I don't know if I want that, actually. Hold, please. What do we want for Juao's questions? We're going to go with the Egyptian tarot. All right, so how is Raquel towards Joao right now? What is the energy of Raquel towards Joao, please? What is Raquel's energy towards Joao? Hello, PP78. Do you have a mummified corpse, or are you calling me something I don't want to be called? Just curious, asking for a friend. Ooh, I'm sending you protective energy, 21. Yeah, I think that's fair, Joao. So we've got Strength, 10 of Cups in the reverse, 2 of Swords, the Hierophant, and the Knight of Cups in the reverse. So this is a little bit frustrating because it's like, I know that our love would stand the test of time, but with the 10 of Cups in the reverse, it's like, I don't know if I want that level of commitment right now. So there is this crossroads that she feels where it's like, I need to probably decide, do I want this relationship or not? And with the Knight of Cups in the reverse, I do feel like there's a sense of depression or sadness, feeling like withdrawn. Why do we feel withdrawn? Because I feel like I have to deal with other emotions. I feel like the failure or the disappointment from something else is making it difficult for me to work on what I need to work on. So is she making progress towards those? Yes. She's working on the things that she needs to, but right now it's a little overwhelming to think about the expectations associated with a serious relationship. Hello, Royal Mighty. This is this is personal questions. So if you have a personal question, you can pop it into a super chat and I will add you to the list. So Joao, we've got indecisive energy, trying to figure out, are you a soulmate of mine? Are you, my person? But hesitation because I don't know if I want to have all those expectations put on me, right? I think at this point, she is aware that if she were to get involved into a serious relationship, she might sabotage it. But she's working on those emotions that cause the issues or the barriers between you. So is this progressively getting better? No, it's stop and go. I work on it and then I get irritated and then I stop. I work on it some more and then I'm like, that's too much. So part of the issue here is it's not consistent investment in letting go of her frustration over previous connections or a difficulty in terms of trusting. But she is being honest with herself that she has to work on things about herself before she could be in a serious relationship. Hello, Imported. How are you doing? Okay. I think that's a good thing to do. Was that a good choice for Joao? The July 6th timeline? Yes. That's a good marker for things to be discussed or decided on. But she is, I'm very happy to see that she's working on things. With that Seven of Pentacles, it's like, I know I need to work on this. It's just that it can be a little bit overwhelming, and at times she gives up on it, right? I agree with that, Imported. Kuro, just so you know, I never do readings on myself. And I certainly wouldn't put them on YouTube for everybody. When I bless my cards, I say that I want it to be for the collective's highest and best good for you all, right? Joelle, I am rooting for you. I hope things go well and that you enjoy the rest of your weekend. And we've got Joey up next. We're going to go with the Graffiti Tarot for Joey. What is Maria's energy towards Joey? What is going on with regards to Maria where it concerns Joey? What is Maria's energy towards Joey, please? Nine of Pentacles, Five of Swords, Page of Cups in the reverse, the Fool in the reverse. Four of Cups and the Magician. This feels to me a little bit like self-loathing. Feeling frustrated, like I keep messing things up, or I feel like I don't learn from the lessons, because we have the Fool in the reverse. So there's sadness or frustration, and it feels like self-sabotage, or like I always get in my head. Joey, it might be helpful to listen to the song Hurricane by MSMR. Ms. Mister? I think that's what the name of the band is. It's an older song, but it kind of captures that idea of, because I don't expect things to go well, I get in my head and I sabotage it. It's, you know, I don't know why you would love me, so I expect that at some point you're going to stop loving me. No worries, Kiro. Promises to yourself are so important. I'm proud of you, Joe. Yeah, Imported, I added them in honor of Gucci, who is meowing. So, Joey, there is a choice that is facing Maria, and that choice is, do you want to acknowledge that you have the ability to make a change, or are you just going to look at things as it's only a matter of time before this goes wrong? Can we get some positivity up in here, right? Because I do feel like Maria has strong intuition, but that strong intuition is not always listened to. Yeah, so we have the Eight of Swords. This is like, this is somebody being blindfolded and going, la, 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 la. I shouldn't chuckle, but you have to pay attention to those cues and that intuition. But the concern here is I'm not as in touch with my emotional side because I expect the worst. So will this change? Yes. I see Maria having more love for herself towards the end of the year, realizing I am getting in my own way. And I feel like letting go of something from the past that impacted her ability to be emotional. She's going to see things more clearly, see the option of no longer having that negative mindset. I don't know if she had a mother who was really not loving, but I feel like this Queen of Swords in the reverse, High Priestess in the reverse, is a family member that taught Maria to be kind of cold and to not let those emotions take over. She has to unlearn that, or she's going to. Hello, Anne. Thank you for the tip. Will I be in a serious relationship soon? I've added that for you. Let me just grab another card for Joey, and then we'll switch over to Anne's question. Joey wants to know, will they be back together soon? Soon? No. It takes a little bit of time. But like I said, I think around the end of the year, we have a shift in her perception or her approach of love. And then we have the Ten of Cups. So when I figure out how to love myself and how to let go of how somebody else taught me to love, because they were wrong, then I can approach that relationship differently. Hello, Flower. Do you like them? All right. Joey, I am wishing you luck. It will require some patience, being supportive, but she's taking something out that has prevented her from loving. It's, to me, what I see in my mind is like what we normally see for the Three of Swords, which is 3 swords into a heart. She has to let go of that kind of cantankerous or judgmental or negative viewpoint of love, remove that and create a definition for herself, and that takes a little bit of time, but she's invested in doing so. So I'll be rooting for you. Let's see what we've got for Anne. This is the Tarot of the Cat People. Seems appropriate. Thank you, Flower. I hope you're having a good day. Anne would like to know, will I be in a serious relationship soon? Will Anne be in a serious relationship soon? Yes. However, this is like, how do I explain this? Okay, do you see how the people falling from the tower have this like protective sphere around them? This is saying there is a possibility for a serious relationship between 2 people who are not fully capable of connecting in a romantic way. And what needs to happen prior to getting into that romantic relationship is like being honest with oneself. So there is work that you could do with regards to healing or your approach to love that would make it much more likely that your relationship is successful or lasts long term instead of something that is short term, because then you realize, oh, well, you've got some problems. I don't think I want to be associated with that anymore. Hello, Priya. How you doing? Or Priyanka, sorry. Let me add that for you. Umesh, current feelings. And how does he see me? Thank you, Priyanka. Oh, just a little bit more for you, Anne. What else does Anne need to know? 4 of Swords in the reverse, Queen of Swords. I see you forgiving someone from your past. And doing that little bit makes it that much easier for you to be able to connect to somebody new in a more meaningful way. So if there is somebody that you can kind of like cut that cord, or you just like release, like, I know I really wanted things to work out better, or I know I really wanted you to treat me better, but you didn't. I'm going to let that go. It's not something that I need to carry around anymore. Then you're able to have a much healthier relationship with this new person. So I see you being able to get what you want around September timeframe, but you get to keep what you want if you let go of that energy from the past. Go for it, Imported. Key Controller, we are on personal questions and almost done with them. All right, let's see what we've got for Priyanka. This is the Tarot of the Nile. What are Umesh's current feelings for Priyanka, please? How does Umesh currently feel for Priyanka? We have the Four of Cups, Six of Pentacles in the reverse, Seven of Swords in the reverse, and the Page of Wands. Umesh feels like if I were to invest, that it would be a matter of time before I would get rejected or I would lose your energy. So this feels to me like, yeah, I know I'm like interested or attracted, but I feel like if I actually allow myself to get, you know, attached to you, that I would end up with a broken heart. It's like, I feel like you get too much attention or there's too many other people who want to be with you. And I don't know if you would stay with me long term, or I don't know if somebody else would come along who is better than me. So there's some insecurity here, right? And some fear that maybe you have a more, how do I say this? This is someone who's a little bit uncomfortable about how bold you are or how confident you are. They might be looking for somebody who is a little bit easier to control. I don't really like saying it that way, but this is like you're too spirited for me, right? If this was about horses, it would be like, I don't feel like I could break you. I don't feel like you would do what I say. I don't really like that. I'm not crazy about it. But this is a person who feels like you would be spirited. So maybe I can't handle all that. And how does he see Priyanka? Someone who makes choices that maybe other people don't agree with, but you think about what makes you happy. But he also feels like you are unhealed or a heartbreaker. He feels like you are a muse. You inspire people. You are creative. You are beautiful. It's not that you are trying to control people. He doesn't feel like you're manipulative. It's just like you don't even try and people fall in love with you. So I don't know if I want to deal with all of that. You know, a little bit concerned about it. Oh, important. I think that's what everybody does. So we have the Six of Cups, somebody who thinks about you fondly, but feels like it's too risky, or that they would invariably get their heart broken because you are not easy to control. Hello, Rakesh. How are you doing today? Oh my gosh, important. Oh, you're going to Paris in September? Okay, I can't help it, Anne. I just gotta ask real quick. I hope you don't mind. Is Anne gonna meet somebody in Paris? In Paris? Is that how you say it? I think that's how you're supposed to say it, right? You guys tell me if I'm wrong. I don't speak French. I'm just curious. Is it gonna be in Paris? You have a very strong potential to meet somebody while you are traveling to Paris. You're going to meet somebody who is clever. They are responsible. And they play the long game. This is not somebody who's just looking for a good time. This is somebody who is interested in finding real love, but they're not out here like going to the bars looking for it. So does that mean Anne needs to like go to museums? Not necessarily museums. You should still do that. Okay, I'm seeing with this King of Cups, for some reason, I'm seeing like an old house. So maybe there's like antiques, maybe there is some sort of museum type energy to it, but I don't think it would be called a museum. So odd comparison, but when I was in Bergen, I went to like a fisherman's house, and it wasn't called a museum. So it's like there's something here that is a little bit old-timey. Maybe it's even a restaurant. It's not a museum, but it is very traditional. It's like set up how it was like hundreds of years ago. So, and I feel like you meet somebody in that kind of environment. Not necessarily like you're looking at like, you know, the Louvre, right? But you're in a place that's old and has a lot of tradition. And that's when you meet somebody. My phone belongs in a museum. You're funny. All right. I'm going to leave it there. I love you all. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for the subscribes. Thank you for being funny. Thank you for hyping the video if you're able to. And I will see you in the next reading. Toodles.